From Reminder Media, this is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business. Hosted by the VP of Marketing, Josh Stake, and Reminder Media's president, Luke Acree. So get ready to hear the golden nuggets that will allow you to live a life of freedom tomorrow, but only if you take action today.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Stay Paid Silver Dollars.
We're getting a lot of compliments.
Dude, I was going to make a new tagline. Yeah, we're completely cut me off.
Okay, go ahead. Make your new tagline and I'll say that.
I have to tune in for the next episode to hear it.
But we're getting a lot of compliments on the Silver Dollar episodes.
They get more comments than anything.
Yeah, I'm very appreciative. It makes me wonder if we should cut our normal episodes down to 15 minutes. I don't know if this is like them subconsciously saying talk less. Probably. I've gotten that my whole life. Talk less.
It's so funny because I tend to only listen to podcasts that are a little bit longer, you know?
Really?
So it's cool to see how people...
Well, I think it's amazing Joe Rogan can go on for 3 hours. He can go, and he can engage me almost the whole time.
Yeah.
Not quite the whole time, but almost the whole time.
That's half an audiobook.
Yeah. It's very insightful. It's crazy.
Well, today we're going to be talking about something that has nothing to do with podcasts.
Yep.
And nothing
Except you can promote your podcast on this.
Nothing to do with pictures. I mean, videos.
Wait, I was going to say, what are you talking about? It has everything to do with pictures and everything to do with videos.
Guys, this is like the 8th Silver Dollar episode that we have recorded in the last 2 weeks. I don't know if Luke and I were up for this level of
He's like, I don't even know what
stamina.
I am talking about right now.
Today, we are going to be talking about Instagram. For some business owners, the thought of running an Instagram induces immediate feelings of anxiety and sweaty palms. But for others, they swear their success of their business by it. And it's no wonder why everyone is paying attention to it with phrases like, do it for the gram, being firmly planted into the lexicon. It's now one of the most lucrative ways to build an audience and connect with people you've never been able to before. Today, we're going to be talking about why you should be using Instagram, how to generate leads from Instagram, and then some tips that we've learned from our own experiences, but also from guests that we've had here previously on Stay Paid of how to grow and then more importantly, maintain your Instagram following.
Yep. No, Instagram's super powerful. I mean, I was reading just some statistics on 2020 statistics on Instagram. Average user spends 53 minutes scrolling through Instagram a day. A day versus like, I think Facebook was 58 minutes. So like people are just addicted to it. It makes me wonder, do you guys hear that fire truck? You can hear it? Yeah, see guys, there's a lot happening out there in the world and we need to get it on the gram. This is a perfect application for the gram. But your audience is there. And what's interesting to me about Instagram is people now love kind of getting to know you as a company or a business or service professional by your Instagram. Meaning it's a way for them to personally, like we're all about building relationships with clients. Instagram is an incredible way to kind of take you from just corporate America, stale, no personality, to all of a sudden giving you a whole voice and a personality somehow.
I don't know why Instagram feels more personal. Like Facebook almost feels fake if I look at something on Facebook from a business. But it's also the way that Facebook has designed how they kind of treat
LinkedIn feels
businesses.
Professional.
Well, like if you're a business page on Facebook, you're going to get about 2% of your audience will see your organic posts. Like they've developed it as a way where you have to boost your content or you have to run ads to get views. Instagram, on the other hand, I read does not care. It doesn't differentiate between whether your profile is set up as a business, a personal profile, or a creator profile. So there's still a lot of, it's almost like the brands have to be more authentic because you're going to get seen and then your engagement ultimately drives who ends up seeing your post on Instagram, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit later in terms of tips for boosting your content and everything. But yeah, something like 60% of people say they discover new products on Instagram. So 1/3.
Have you bought something on Instagram?
I have bought these shoes on Instagram.
Okay, I got a confession to make. Comment on the video if you've made it this far. I bought a pair of Chubby's bathing suits on Instagram. I'm literally on the beach.
Wait, what is a Chubby bathing suit?
Jesse's laughing back there. Probably most of the audience is like, Chubby's bathing suits, right? I'm pretty sure it's called Chubby's. Ariel is shaking her head. I'm like on the beach on my first, with Megan's family, my wife's family, and I'm like scrolling through Instagram. I was like, yeah, I need a new bathing suit. And literally in 2 clicks of a button, like I see it on my feed, probably because it's listening to me. Your phone's listening to you now. I see these Chubby's bathing suits, which is a popular brand, way too expensive. I never pay $70 for a bathing suit, but it got me, man. It was an impulse buy, and I was like, bam, bam, and boom. They came within like 2 days.
Nah,
It was nuts.
that's amazing. Shoes are my weakness. But yeah, Instagram is so good at knowing what you're interested in.
Yeah, because it listens to you all day.
It listens to you all day. But yeah, I mean, there's also the ability to become the local expert. Like there's so many unique ways to be able to treat your Instagram content that we're going to get into a little bit about that. But first, talking about how to generate leads from Instagram. So a lot of people don't know that you can run ads directly on Instagram. You can boost your content directly from your business profile page. And this means that you have to switch your account from a personal profile to a business profile, but it's as easy as going into your profile, clicking those little 3 lines in your upper right-hand corner. I think you go into settings, then you go into your account and you can say switch to a business account. You can also run ads. If you're running ads through Facebook already, connect your Instagram account to your Facebook Business Manager, and then you can also have it run on Instagram at the same time.
I'm curious, do we see a lot of leads coming through Instagram versus Facebook?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious for ourselves because we run a ton of ads on Facebook for our products here at ReminderMedia.
Yeah.
And I know we have it show up on Instagram's feed.
Well, the neat part about that is Facebook is so smart, it will spend the money where it thinks it'll get the most results. So if you're getting a lot of results on Instagram, it'll just keep putting money into your Instagram posts.
Yeah, so you think about like what is the stuff that you might want to boost or might want to talk about. And think of if you're a real estate agent right now, like in boosting some valuable piece of content, like, hey, the 3 tips you need to know if you're a first-time home buyer, because 35% of all the transactions in real estate are first-time home buyers. I just saw this stat recently. So it's like you could run an ad of, hey, swipe up to receive a little ebook or 3 tips, and it takes them to the blog on your website or whatever, and it brands you. At the same time, you can do, and Josh and I have a whole webinar on Facebook ads, and it really does translate well, but you can boost your listings to put you in front of people and understand. I was talking to my brother Steven about this the other night, is that so many people are missing out on Facebook and Instagram boosting and all this stuff right now because they want direct leads right away from boosting these ads. And I'm telling you, there's so much power in the branding that it gives you just to be popping up on the feed of your sphere.
Go back to Krista Mayshore's episode that we did with her, and she talked about they would boost video for 6 months to an audience. They knew that it would take 6 months of seeing their videos to ultimately convert into a lead.
Because you're building, when you're boosting these to generate leads, you're trying to build credibility in the mind of your community. So you're trying to build in credibility and trust. And I think it was Tom Ferry that talked about this when he was on the podcast, but it comes from familiarity. And familiarity comes from consistency. So the more you can be seen in your marketing, and specifically if we're talking about Instagram, you boost these ads to people, they start seeing you all the time, they get familiar with you. And if you start doing things like, even if they don't look at the ebook, but they see you, Josh Stike, as the realtor that says, hey, do you want the 3 best tips if you're trying to sell your home by yourself? Swipe up. Hey, do you want the 3 best tips that you need to know as a new home buyer? Swipe up. If you think about it that way, or even just on a boosted post, not even a story, you've just subconsciously just built this familiarity and this trust. And all of a sudden, guess what? When they think of real estate, they're going to think of you.
And I know people get a little scared when they hear 6 months, but remember, that's pennies. When you're boosting video, it's pennies per view. So you are not spending a ton on people watching your video content to where they'll eventually become your clients.
I also want to say, because when we're talking about the value of Instagram and even generating leads, like Ed Stulak says this, and he's an expert at Instagram as a real estate agent. He has like almost 50,000 followers or something like that, and he generates leads all the time. Instagram is your business card. It is what you want to hand out to people when you meet them for the first time. So if you're meeting a client, give them your Instagram handle. I know that sounds crazy. Give them even your Facebook handle and stuff, and connect with them on theirs and recognize them, because all of a sudden you've taken it from being just a transactional type, I'm a real estate agent meeting with you, and all of a sudden they get a window into your life and who you are.
Yeah. Another great tip that we had, I think this was going all the way back to Tiffany Amber, who we had on the podcast early on, but she would actually run these survey stories basically saying, like, are you looking to buy or sell in 2019, 2020? Yes or no? And then every single person that said yes, she would reach out to. She would just DM real quick.
Are you in your dream home right now?
Are you in your dream? I think that maybe.
Are you in your dream home? Yes or no?
Yeah,
and then everybody who says no, bingo, I'm reaching out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, don't spam them. Like, it's all about, trust and everything like that. Another way you can generate leads is DMing people. And this has happened to me multiple times. And it's not just an Instagram thing. This translates, a lot of social media strategies translate to the other platforms, but DMing people. And one of the things that I like to point out to people is when you DM people and you're reaching out to them, This is kind of what happens to people, especially on LinkedIn and stuff like that, is they email and they do something nice. And I know the immediate next thing is going to be them asking. Don't fall into the trap of immediately asking. Connect with somebody. Literally, I'll tell you, somebody we want to get on the podcast, Kevin Ward. I just DM'd him today, I've asked him like 2 or 3 times to come on our podcast. He hasn't come on yet, so I'm hoping that he'll come on. But I literally DM'd him today and just said, hey man, I just want to let you know I listened to your latest podcast of what agents should do in 2020, and I thought it was great. And it's sincere, because I'd listened to a podcast and thought it was incredible. But I didn't follow that up with, oh, and by the way, I want you on my podcast, right? Because I know if that ruins the compliment that I was just giving them. And so when you're trying to generate leads and you're trying to nurture people through social, through Instagram, through stuff like that, stop doing a nice and ask. Give a couple nice, let it breathe a little bit to build that relationship.
So then the big question on everybody's mind is, how do you then grow your audience on Instagram?
Yeah. Beats me. No, I'm just kidding.
So here's some tips. Obviously,
let's tell them what we've experienced, and we'll give some tips that we're trying right now. But because we're really trying to do this. We're trying to build our audience. So if you're not following us on Instagram, help us out if you're listening to this podcast and follow us on Instagram.
No, look, if you're in a industry like real estate or in any industry, you want to go search for what are the top hashtags in your industry. So I pulled a couple from real estate specifically. Top 5 general real estate hashtags: real estate, realty, broker, for sale, new home. Get even deeper to that. Top 5 real estate listing hashtags: just listed, just sold, open house, off market listing, new listing. Now, these are all basic stuff. If you're not marking your tags or your posts with these hashtags, these are things that you want to start doing, and then get into location specific. So you want to do neighborhood real estate, neighborhood home for sale, neighborhood or city real estate, city home for sale, because you can now follow hashtags. So if I'm a home buyer and I'm looking for all of the available options that are in my area for for homes that I can see, and what am I? I'm a visual person. I want to look at the home before I think about whether I want the home. And I want to look at homes that might even be a little bit outside of my price tag. So I want to dream a little bit.
Everybody does.
So I'm going to be following those hashtags. And if you're not connecting through that way, or making sure that you're using hashtags with your posts, let me put it this way. You're not guaranteed to get the visibility.
Correct.
If you're using hashtags, but you are a lot less likely if you're not using hashtags.
You want to use
setting
hashtags.
Yourself up for failure.
Here's the hardest part about social. And this is just, I knew it to be true when we started it, but I'm just like everybody else, and I want things to be faster than they normally are.
If you use the hashtag today, it's not going to grow to 10,000 tomorrow.
To grow your Instagram following, it comes down to really 2 things. It comes down to the value that you present to your audience, and then the engagement that you do, in my opinion, meaning you have to spend the time engaging with your audience, really recognizing them, giving them what they want, learning from them. And that's in essence a long-term game. So it's not only just hashtag it with homes for sale, real estate stuff. It's what are you into? Who do you normally work with? Like, what are the things? And go to those hashtags, start commenting on those things and engaging on those things.
Well, that's
and
the
$1.80
rule.
Yeah, and having conversations based upon those things. That's the biggest issue. Unless you get a little lucky and you have stuff that goes viral. And I have another tip on content. You get a little lucky and something that goes viral, but it really comes down to, it's like, how do you win an election? Shake hands, kiss babies,
kiss many babies as
go
possible.
to as many town halls as you can. It's the same it's the same that translates to social. You really should implement a strategy in your business and goes, it's the $1.80 for Gary V, but it's really going to the hashtags and going, how do I engage? How do I comment? How do I recognize people? People who follow you, comment. That's what I've started to recently do is everybody who follows me, I try to DM them and comment them back to recognize them, to engage, to start doing a conversation. The other tip I'll give you when it comes to content of growing your following, and we learned this from Zach Benson, and his whole company is a Sistagram. Like, so he has millions of followers that he manages and all this stuff. He talks about beautiful imagery and using other people's beautiful imagery to spark engagement. Real estate agents, this is perfect for you. Go find a picture of an incredible home. Put that on your Instagram. You're going to naturally get engagement. Go find a flip or flop type thing. Go find an HGTV. There's a reason why Joanna Gaines is so popular, right? On what is that called? Magnolia Farms or something.
Yeah,
What's
Magnolia
her?
Farms.
I can't remember what her show's
Fixer
called. Fixer Upper. That's what it's called. But there's a reason why they're so popular too. People love seeing the transformation. Show them content like that. And if you don't have that naturally for your business, they have it that you can repurpose it.
Yeah. Just to go back real quick and talk about the $1.80 strategy so people understand what we're talking about. This is something I think Gary Vee came up with. At least he's evangelized it. Go find the people that you want to work with, or go find the hashtags that you want to connect with people on. Find people's posts that aren't getting a ton of comments or a ton of engagement. Because if you go onto this is what so many of us do. We find the influencers, we start posting on their stuff, we start liking their stuff in hopes that they see us and they want to connect with us all of a sudden. Go find the people that you want to work with and drop your 2 cents on their post. Yep. Drop your opinion, say, hey, saw your post on XYZ, loved it, keep crushing it, man, you're doing amazing, right? Do that 90 times a day. Drop your 2 cents 90 times a day. That's your $1.80 strategy. Yep.
It takes a lot of hard work and engagement to grow a following.
Takes commitment.
So you need great content, which is content that your clients or your audience enjoys, and you need to engage with them and trigger conversations to give them more value, which helps you tweak your content.
I want to jump back real quick because I know we're running out of time here, but I want to also talk about the value of having a business page and allowing you to check your engagement. Because I think a lot of people, they look at what's working, but they're not really doing it scientifically to figure out what is providing the engagement. So we would recommend, and we've seen this done before and we've done it in our own business, where you keep a spreadsheet of the different hashtags or the different type of posts that you're using. And then if you have a business profile, you can actually go into that post, into the insights. You can see profile visits, you can see your reach, you can see your impressions, which the cool thing about impressions, it actually then breaks it down from your viewer's homepage. So from their feed, if they're seeing the post from your profile, if they're seeing the post from Explore,
right,
which the Explore page is whenever you click search in Instagram, so that tells you how likely your stuff is to be being picked up by other people. It lets you count interactions, accounts reached. It also will give you a percentage of ones not following you. You can then, of course, get your likes, comments, shares, and saves. And then if you're boosting a post, you can see gender, age, and locations. But that's where you want to start. Just like you said, it's going to take time. You want to start tracking what hashtags are you using, then go in, record your engagement, then go back and look at that and say, well, wait a minute, every time I use this hashtag,
I get
this much on Explore tab, or every time I don't use it, it's dropping or something like that. And that will ultimately lead your posting strategy from there.
It will also show you in your insights, like when are your clients, I say clients, when is your audience, the followers most engaged? So I can see that I should probably post at either 9 a.m., 12 p.m. or late at night, because most of my audience engages late at night.
Yeah.
And so you can see when should you post that is going to get the most engagement. And in just little insights like about your audience, like is it mostly female, is it mostly male? Little things that will help you know how to tweak your content and when you should actually strategically post. Most people, when it comes to posting, don't know what to post. The reality is the more and more I do this, it's just literally just document. Like Ed Stulak had a great saying on this, is just like 3 times a day. What are you doing in the morning? What are you doing in the afternoon? What are you doing in the evening?
For your stories.
I love shouting out Connor, who's a client of ours. I loved what he was doing every morning. It was, hey, go with me on the journey today. Here's what I have today on my plate. I have a buying or a buyer that I'm showing around. I have a listing, a presentation that I have to go do. And he would update you along the day. And I thought that was awesome.
Awesome.
It kept me engaged.
So there you go, everybody. That's why you should be using Instagram, how you can be generating leads from Instagram, and then some tips on growing and maintaining your Instagram following. Like Luke said, we want to hear your tips. We want to hear what you've had success with, because we're trying to do the same thing, everybody. We're trying to grow our Instagram following and then learning things that we can then bring to the rest of you. Yeah. So make sure to follow us on Instagram. Our podcast is at Stay Paid Podcast. Luke is at Luke Acree.
Yes.
And I don't think we mentioned our company enough. So our company, Reminder Media, the people who pay for all this camera equipment and backdrops and posters and stuff, at ReminderMedia. So follow them on Instagram. We're doing like these employee takeovers. So our producer, Ariel, now you have to scroll back in the feed a little bit probably to see this. I don't know if our stories, maybe we'll reshare our stories when this episode drops.
Yes.
Let's do that.
So you can see.
We'll reshare the stories to ReminderMedia when this episode drops. So you can see her today. She's doing an employee takeover.
Yes. So you get to learn more about
She got to videotape you messing up your video presentation.
Thank you for pointing that out, Josh.
Well, it was like a 7-minute presentation. It's taken 3 hours to record it.
It took me 20 takes, I think. I'm saying 20. She said 10, but I swear it was at least 15.
I can only make fun of you because you're so much better at that stuff than anybody else is. So.
This one was crazy. But anyways, that's a whole nother story.
But thank you for listening. If you're looking for ways to support the show, which we really appreciate it, there's 2 ways. The first way is to rate us 5 stars on iTunes and leave a comment. Also, speaking of Instagram, I want to give a shout out to Renee Burke. She's a listener. She messaged me on Instagram. I thanked her for following me, and she sent me back this message.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Happy to be following you, Tony. Refer back to my dad joke from a previous episode. Love your show. This is Renee Burke, Home Smart Elite in Scottsdale, Arizona. Luke cold called me last Christmas time, and I started your magazines. I told him on the phone, I believe this will be my year to become a top producer. I listened to your follow-up show today. My goal is to become the top of mind Arizona agent.
I love that.
So Renee, we are rooting
awesome.
for you. Make sure to go find Renee. Give her a follow on Instagram. Say that you heard from her on Stay Paid. And the best way to tell a friend to help out the show is to tell a friend. The best way to tell a friend is basically just to walk up and say, hey, have you heard of Stay Paid?
Send them the link, though, so it's easy.
But the best way to help the show is to tell that friend about Stay Paid. If you want to get hold of me or Luke directly, you can find us on Instagram, or you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, and I'm Luke Acree. And the action item for this podcast is really simple, is you got to get on Instagram and you got to start engaging. And so I think an easy start for all of you is, are you following, and do you have all of your clients and past clients following you? Start there. Find them on social, get them engaged, and start engaging with them. Recognize them. Comment on their pictures. It builds and strengthens that relationship, and that's ultimately what's going to result in making you, like Renee wants to be, the top of mind agent in your community. Remember this, the difference between a top producer and a mediocre producer in every industry we work in is top producers take action. Take action on that today.